Pittsburgh, early 1850s. A telegraph office on the corner of 4th and Wood, second floor, before the sun is fully up. The operators aren't in yet. There's a teenager alone in the room with a broom because sweeping the operating room is part of a messenger boy's job. And the instruments start clicking. It's the Pittsburgh call. Somebody down the line wants Pittsburgh, and they want it now. There's nobody in that room qualified to answer except a kid who is not qualified to answer. But he sits down and he taps back. It's Philadelphia. They have a death message that has to reach a family in Pittsburgh immediately. Can he take it? Here's what he says. He says he'll try if they send it slowly. My name is Chance Sweat, a business broker with Fitzgibbon Alexander and owner of Sweat Equity Advisors, where I help business owners grow revenue and build sales teams at work. This is Personal Bets. That boy, Andrew Carnegie, you heard of him? And the reason he could sit down at that key at all is that he'd already put in months of reps on that machine back when absolutely nothing was riding on it. This episode is about earning the right to the rep that you're asking for. Early 1850s, Carnegie is 14 years old. His family immigrated from, man, you guys know how much I hate these words, Dunfermline, Scotland, 2 years earlier with borrowed money. He was working in a bobbin factory, firing the boiler in the cellar for $2 a week, and that by his own account, lying awake at night, worried that the steam was too high and things were going to blow. Then one evening, he comes home and hears that a man named David Brooks, the manager of the Pittsburgh telegraph office, has asked his uncle Hogan whether he knows a boy who'd make a decent messenger. Now, Brooks and the uncle were checkers players. The question got asked over a checkers board. Carnegie's father, thinking that he was too small for it, then gives in and walks his son the 2 miles into Pittsburgh. Carnegie makes him wait on the sidewalk, goes up to the second floor alone, and he gets the job. And then he does something nobody asked him to do. He's afraid that he won't learn the delivery address fast enough. So at night, he walks the streets up and down, memorizing the signs. One side up, one side down, and then he quizzes himself with his eyes closed. Every firm in order, foot on the street to the top, cross over, back over. Then he starts memorizing the men's faces so that he can hand a businessman his telegram on the sidewalk and save himself the walk. No one assigned that, and there was no bonus for it. He just did it because he knew it was the right thing to do to get ahead. Now, most of them just swept. But Carnegie got the key, and he'd tap out messages to other messenger boys at other stations who had the same idea as him. They just wanted to talk. Really about nothing, and they weren't really talking to anyone about anything important, but they were learning the machines. And what exactly does that prove, right? It's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym on day one and bench 250 pounds. You got to start with an empty bar, right? You got to learn the movements, and that's exactly what he was doing, right? Right here in that second, no one was paying him to touch the machine, and there wasn't real risk on it, but he was getting those reps in. Now, he'd been a messenger a while by the time that morning came. 15 years old, maybe 16 by his own account. It's hard to track. He didn't really write down what the date of the message was, but the Pittsburgh call came in, and he can tell from the urgency that somebody badly wants to get through. And so he answered it. Philadelphia has a death message. Immediate delivery. Now, he didn't say yes and hope he could figure it out. He didn't say no and go find an adult. He said he would try if they would send it to him slowly. And he got the message and ran it out the door himself. And then he sat there and waited for Brooks to come in so he could confess what he had dared to do. Now, Brooks had every right to fire him. Instead, he complimented the young man and told him to be more careful and to not make mistakes. After that, they started letting him watch the instrument when an operator went to step out. The office had one operator who, Carnegie says, was more than happy to let someone else do his job, so the kid did it. 1852, the operator at Greensburg, 30 miles east, wanted 2 weeks off of work. Brooks asked Carnegie if he thinks he could cover it. He said yes immediately, takes the mail stage out, eats his first meal in a public hotel, which he thought was absolutely outstanding. But now he's in Greensburg. It's not Pittsburgh. Small town, small station, small volume. If things fell apart out there, yeah, the east-west line, wouldn't go dark, but somebody would get a telegram a couple hours late. It was training weight for him, right? He added a little bit more weight to the bar. It started lifting. But he also nearly got himself killed there. Sat too close to the key during a lightning storm and got knocked clean off his stool. So in fairness, to my point about the gym, even the light set will hurt you if you're stupid about it. I've been there. I've done that. Now, he came back from Greensburg and got promoted. Operator, $25 a month, 16 years old. It's now February 1st. 1853, a man named Thomas Scott of the Pennsylvania Railroad hired him as his personal clerk and operator for $35 a month. And that's the door to the railroad, which becomes the door to iron, which becomes steel. Sweep the office, practice on nobody, take the message, cover the shift, run Greensburg, sit in the chair. Now, I didn't pick this story because it's a nice bootstrap story. I picked it because of a pattern I keep running into in my reading and in my interviews, is that somebody gets a meeting with somebody successful, coffee, Zoom, conference hallway, and asks, would you introduce me to your clients? Think about what's actually being requested here. You're asking a person to take the one thing they've spent a career building, their name in front of, people, their reputation, and stand behind it, behind you, who may or may not have any reps doing what you're asking them to do for you. Now, if you're good, you'll get a thank you note. And if you're not, they get an apology call and a client who trusts them a little less. Their reputation is the spotter here. And you just walked into the gym for the first time and loaded 250 on the bar. Yikes. I spend my weeks on both sides of this. At Fitzgibbon Alexander, I'm sitting across from owners who are selling the thing they built. At Sweat Equity Advisors, I'm building sales teams that are supposed to produce revenue instead of just activity. In sales, the low stake reps are sitting right there, and honestly, nobody wants them because they're boring and they don't feel like progress. The dead list from 2 years ago, the client that's never bought from us, the account's too small for anybody senior to care about, the inbound calls that nobody's returning for some reason. Those are your empty bar sets. You want your 200th rep in front of the account that matters, not your first one. In brokerage, it's the same shape, right? A value conversation, a buyer's call, a listing appointment where the seller isn't ready and he probably knows it. Right? These are the reps that you can't miss, right? You should be getting after them. A business owner is only has one exit, and you have to make it count, right? You have to know how to handle an objection about seller financing. You have to know how to handle an objection from a buyer who doesn't like what they see in the tax returns. And if you're the one who wants the introduction, you have to ask for the Greensburg version instead. Let me sit at the call and say nothing. Give me the deal that you're going to turn down. Give me the client that you didn't want to coach. Give me the account that isn't worth your time. Let me work the 2 weeks that you want off. There's a small station somewhere where a mistake costs the man 30 miles from you, nothing. So send it slowly. So what are my takeaways here? What do we need to do? How do we get those small, low stake reps in? Number one, sweep the office. Now, Carnegie didn't talk his way into that room. He got the boring, unpaid, nobody wants it task that happened to put him alone with the equipment. Proximity beats permission. Sometimes. Don't break the law. Find the version of that in your world and volunteer for it, right? You want to get paid for workshops? Go do free workshops first. Number two, you have to practice where failure is free. To my point, empty room, other messenger boys, 6 a.m, no stakes. Go find the reps in your week where a miss costs nothing and take a lot of them. Do as many free workshops as you can before you start charging for them. Number three, when that live rep comes early, negotiate the wait. You don't have to just load the bar. Now, Carnegie didn't turn down the death message and he didn't fake becoming an operator. He asked him to slow down. There's almost always a version of it in a send it, slow it, available, opportunity. Hey, I want to do this, but can I have fewer accounts to call on? Hey, I really want to take the lead on this, but can we make it a smaller deal? Or, hey, do you mind if I make calls on this dead list just to get some reps in? Ask for it. No one's going to say no. And if they do, well, is that who you want to work for? And then think about Greensburg, right? 30 miles out, small volume, 2 weeks. There were some real consequences at a size that could honestly survive if he messed up. So take the version that you're offered, even when it isn't that impressive, right? I've got a great friend who builds luxury homes. Did he start out building the most glorious and amazing luxury homes? They're probably pretty good because he's really good at his job, but they probably weren't what he's building now. Think about that. 15 years old, alone in a room, a message came from a stranger's worst day coming down the wire at him, and there was no adult in the building for him to lean on. And he didn't pretend to be an operator. He didn't run from it. He said, just send it slowly. And listen, if you're an owner who wants to know what your business is actually worth, or you've got a sales team producing activity instead of revenue, that's the work I do, right? And we can do those low reps together to get you where you want to be. Valuation and exit through Fitzgibbon Alexander, revenue and sales team growth through Sweat Equity Advisors, links in the show notes. I hope you have a great day.